Alison Jackson, thank you very much for joining us, netinspirations.org. I just basically wanted to kind of talk to you about your work as well as kind of the art market in general. When did you start to see yourself more as a contemporary artist rather than a photographer?
Well, I've always seen myself as a contemporary artist because I'm not particularly interested in the craft of taking a photograph. I'm more interested in commenting on photography. I'm trying to raise questions about our obsession and why we're so obsessed with people we don't know and yet we feel we know intimately. I mean, it's a ridiculous situation that people worship people that they have no idea who they are or what, if the stories are true or not. So I'm trying to deconstruct that by, in a way, humanizing the celebrity or the royal family or the politicians.
How does your work lie with religion as a concept?
I suppose, religion's sort of the underpinning of our society. And I think celebrity has now emerged as the new folk religion. And we identify with celebrities as saints, so each one will represent something different. If you're feeling in a vile mood, you might think that Camilla Parker Bowles is a demon. If you feel like you want to work hard, and get yourself out of Essex, you might, believe in posh that day. Celebrity is a superficial religion, but it's incredibly powerful for us right now. The story of Christ had been spread via one incredibly powerful and important icon and image, and that is of the crucifix. The actual geometric composition is one that is used in traditional iconographic photography of celebrities now. So it's an eye to psyche read, that crucifix, that geometric shape, which is incredibly important. So I find the design of the crucifix and the cell of religion through this image to be very fascinating, and particularly in relation to iconic celebrity photography. But for a fast read, you see a crucifix and you think religion. The same, you look at a picture of Marilyn Monroe and instantaneously you think of sex goddess. The viewer is suddenly powerful because the viewer can make up their own minds about a celebrity. Now there is a sort of turnaround now because the celebrities like the Brangelinas, Posh and Becks will only will give lots of images of them walking down the street with their babies or whatever to the press, but only for money. So they have a very, very good symbiotic relationship with the press and the internet and the news stations. They go, sure, every day, give me £50,000, we'll do a 10-minute walk down the street with our babies, and you can have that imagery. Now, the public don't know that. So all those images you see in Hello and Heat and of celebrities walking down the street as if it's all quite normal, and you wonder how they got those images, totally staged. The celebrity has constructed their own fake photograph for real. And I'm trying to make comments about that. I'm fascinated by mixing up the real and the fake. I think it's incredibly important actually for all artists to comment politically because it's the one area that we're well removed from. We don't really, as artists or even as a public, have much power over in terms of influencing or even finding out what goes on in political circles or with leaders, prime ministers and presidents. I'm looking for an Obama and McCain and Hillary lookalike right now to comment on what's going on in the States and that huge change. I mean, what a huge change if Obama becomes president. I think that the art market is extremely sustainable with the looming of a recession. I think it just sits outside of other types of businesses or markets. I think it's supported by billionaires that aren't really going to be affected by recessions. I think there are all sorts of benefits for buying artworks. I think it will remain buoyant.
Don Rebell says that it doesn't follow the same rules in that for every unique piece of art there's a unique buyer.
Well, I think that some artworks don't sell at all, and doesn't necessarily mean to say that they're bad. So I would disagree and say that there isn't a buyer for every piece of artwork. Some stuff just sits on a shelf and that doesn't mean to say it's bad art. It's just art that's not fashionable at that moment. But I would also say that if you have a really great gallerist and people trust that gallerist and that gallerist saying buy that piece of art, that is going to become or has a first, opportunity and chance plug of becoming collectible art.
If you were to start a gallery, what kind of artists would you collect? Emerging, established?
Oh no, definitely I'd be interested in new artists and fresh blood. I find it amazing that we, for 20 years now we've been stuck with the same artists, and they're great. Damien Hirst was definitely art market changing, Tracy Emin's, pretty amazing, but we haven't really moved on.
Do you think it's necessarily a good thing that gallerists are sort of targeting really quite young artists now, so they have little room to develop?
No, I like the way that gallerists help artists, but it would be and is a shame if it influences their work, because I think it's incredibly important for artists to feel totally independent, totally free thinking. As soon as money is involved, I'm afraid you can't think in a free way. You certainly lose your independence. You can argue that's not the case, but it is the case. And I know, because I work as an artist, I also work in television, I work, on commissions, and it makes a big difference.